Hi friends, I am starting with your chapter number 5, right? That is the chapter number 5 in the NCERT textbook, right? In the NCERT textbook, we have the chapter number 5, that is what we call as fundamental unit of life, right? The fundamental, right? Fundamental unit of life, right? Whenever we heard or whenever we have listened, when we go through this line, that is the fundamental unit of life, the first thing which comes in our mind is a cell, right? So if I ask you, okay, what do you mean by a cell, right? Or what is a cell? So when we talk about cell or when we define the cell, so it is said that a cell is the basic, it is called as the basic, right? It is called as the basic structural, right? It is called as the basic structural and functional unit of life, functional unit of life. So this is what we have about the cell. When we talk about the structural unit, right? When we talk about the structural unit, right? Basically we talk here about the structural part, right? When we talk about the structural part, so how the cell helps to make the structure of a body, or how possibly is she going to result into a complete organism. So first we have the cell, right? A group of cells performing a specified function will combine together to form a tissue, and these tissues will combine together to form an organ, right? To form an organ, and this organ will combine together to form an organ system, and therefore ultimately this organ system will form an organism, right? So this is how the whole complete cell is combining together into different forms and then leading to the formation of a complete new organism. And when we talk about the functional form of the cell or the functional unit which it is considered about, right? So cell perform different functions, right? When we talk about the cell, they perform different functions. So what are those functions that a cell performs? The first is metabolism, right? That is the metabolism, right? It is one of the common one. Second, which we talk about, it is what we call as respiration. We have third is excretion, right? So there are so many other functions that can be done by a cell, right? Apart from this metabolism, respiration, excretion, you have circulation, you have reproduction, and so on. So many functions can be done by a cell. So therefore a cell is called as the structural and functional unit of life. Now when we go about the history of the cell, the first cell, right? Whenever we talk about the cell, the first cell was discovered by Robert, right? That is what we call as Robert Hooke in 1665, right? It is one of the important word you have to keep in your mind. And Robert Hooke observed that is called as a cork cell. Cork cell means the bark of the tree. That was a dead cells which he has observed. And what did he observe? That these are some small compartments which were observed by him, right? He observed some small compartments. So this is looking like, this whole complete thing is looking like a small compartment, right? Compartment, which was later this compartment was termed as cell, right? It was termed as cell. So this is how the cell was discovered, and this discovery has an equal and enough amount of credit to that of the discoverer of your microscope. And you all are familiar with who discovered the microscope. So we know that it is the Leeuwenhoek, right? Who discovered the microscope? So microscope, right? Microscope was discovered by Leeuwenhoek, right? He was discovered by Leeuwenhoek in the year 1674. In the year 1674, right? Which was the first light microscope. Right, later on there was the observation of what we call as nucleus, right? Later on there was a scientist who discovered nucleus. His name was Robert Brown, right? He discovered the nucleus of the cell, right? He discovered the nucleus of the cell. Then another scientist, his name was Purkinje, right? Purkinje was the scientist in 1839. He named it as protoplasm, right? He named the cells as protoplasm. That means the cell membrane and the inner cytoplasmic consistence or inner cytoplasmic content, it was considered as protoplasm. Later on other scientists like Sheldon and Schwann, right? That is Sheldon, right? Sheldon and Schwann. Sheldon and Schwann were the two scientists. They worked together, right? They worked together to give something called as cell theory. And under this cell theory they said that all the plants and animals are made up of different types of cell, and this different type of cells will have different function and they will combine together to form the different kinds of tissues, right? And all the organisms are made up of cell. These were the two things which were mentioned by Sheldon and the Schwann. Okay, and later on, after the discovery of Sheldon and the Schwann, another scientist, his name was Rudolf Virchow. Right? His name was Virchow, right? Rudolf Virchow. He said something that all the organism, he said, all the cells, whatever the cells we are getting, the new cells, they come from pre-existing cell, right? All the cells, they come from the pre-existing cell, which was said by the scientist Rudolf Virchow. And now in the 1940s we have, that is the electron microscope, right? Electron microscope, and then electron microscope, right? So once there was a development of electron microscope, now there was a detailed study of the cell done. They studied the cell in detail, right? They studied the cell in detail. And now they know that they have found complex structure. They have found the complex structure inside that of the cell, which are called as organelles, right? And which will be clearly explained in the later part of the videos. I will make single video targeting each and every single organelle of the cell, and all will be given with that of their basic structure. Some will be given with the diagrams also, and the function of each and every organelle will be clearly mentioned in the other video. So here when we talk about the cell, now based on the number of cell, right, based on the number of cell, we have two types of organism. You have unicellular organism, and then you have the multicellular organism, right? You have the unicellular organism and you have the multicellular organism. In the unicellular organism, the cell is, or the organism is made up of single cell, and each and every single cell, right, or the very single cell which the organism is made up of, it will perform all the functions including digestion, excretion, including respiration or metabolism. All the work will be performed by a single cell in the unicellular organism, right? For example, you have many of them. You have amoeba. Amoeba is a good example of a unicellular organism. Then when we go for the multicellular organism, they are made up of more than one cell. Here there is a clear division. There is a clear division of labor, right? The work is divided between the different cells which are there, right? So that means a cell which is performing the excretion will be different, the cell performing the digestions will be there, right? So the work is divided equally amongst the different cells and among the different tissues they have. Now another thing comes that we have here, that is the shape of the cell, right? First I'll give you a quick glance of the size of the cell, right? So when we talk about the cell can be as large as, when we, a single cell I'm talking, as large as that of the ostrich egg, right? Ostrich egg is the largest cell, and it can be small or smallest as mycoplasma, right, which is I guess near about 0.2 micrometer or maybe less, right? It is near about 0.2 micrometer in diameter, or maybe it is lesser than that, right? That is, it is a type of bacteria. So it can be as large as an ostrich cell, it can be as small as mycoplasma, or it can be long as a nerve cell. You all are familiar with the nerve cells, the cells of your nervous system, that is of the brain. So when we talk about the shape, right, the shape of the cell totally depends on the functions that are being done by the cell. For example, if the cell, just for example, for the transfer of oxygen, we know about the RBC. When you see the RBCs are thicker, right? This portion of the RBCs are thicker, whereas the middle portion is thinner. And when we see them in the cross section, what you can see is they are of dumbbell shape. They are called as biconcave. They are biconcave. They do not have nucleus. They do not have mitochondria. And this is because so that they can get more and more and more amount of oxygen to be transferred. They do not have nucleus. RBC, these are the RBC, that means the red blood cells of human. They do not have any nucleus in there, right? The mature or the newly formed RBC which do not have nucleus, but when the RBCs are not mature, they have the nucleus. But since they get mature, they can old, that time they will stop having the, or they will do not have the nucleus. The nucleus will get disintegrated. Then you have like what we can say, that is the adipose tissues. right? We can have that is the fat cell or the adipose cell, right? The adipose cell, or we have this is the fat cell. It has a huge big cavity in the center, which is important for the storage of fat. This is important for the storage of fats inside them, right? Then we have other cells which we can see here. We can talk about, or we can learn, right? You can have the nerve cells, the cell of your nerves, right? When we typically see them, right, when we draw their diagram or typically see them, they have a branched structure. They literally have a branched structure which is associated with that of their work, so that they can carry the nerve impulse. This is the cell body. It is the nucleus, right? It is what we have, that is the nucleus, right? You have here that is the filament kind of thing, which is called as the axon. And these are the dendrites, right? These are the synaptic clips. These are exclusively for the transfer of the impulse all across. And here another nerve cell, right? Just like that, another nerve cell will be connected by them. So they will form the wiring of our nervous system, and these are your nerve cells. Just like that, you have that is the muscle cells, which are flat and elongated. They are thick at the middle, but they are thin at the edges. That is the smooth muscles, which are specifically for the contraction. Just for example, in your heart, they can contract and they can get relaxed. Apart from that, you have that is the ovum, right? Ovum or the egg cell, right? That is the ovum or the egg cell you have, that is specifically only for the reproduction. We have that is called as bone cells you have, which have an irregular shape with them, right? They do not have a regular shape, right? You have the bone shape, right? Bone cell, right? There will be a continuous deposition of calcium on them, and the calcium can be removed, right? That will maintain the bone density, right? So we can say that here one question which can be asked in your examination: does the function of the cell is related with the shape of the cell? So I must say yes. Yes, the function of the cell is related to the shape of the cell. So these are some the clear example which I have given here, right? Which I have given here. So now in the later part, right, in the unicellular and in also the multicellular organism, now we will see, right, okay, how the different organism or different organelles perform different function, right? In our cell, we will study each and every organelle, each and every component and their functions separately in the next video. And this is the basic introduction about the cell, and now we will see the most interesting parts, that are the functions of the different organelles of the cell, right? So that's all about the introduction related to the cell, its size, its function, types of organism based on the number of cell, right? So this is all about the introduction to the fundamental unit of life, that is what we have, or what we call as cell. Thank you, and if you have any doubt, just let me know and I'll help you out through it. Thanks.